Happy Friday, everybody. We're going to talk about July, August 2023 report for real estate in the Villages, Florida. It's going to be pretty in depth. One of the things that we've been doing over the last, I'd say this has been probably about a year. We started doing the quarterly reports, the tangible quarterly reports that we actually hand out at open houses, and I know a lot of us are handing them out at listing presentations, and I find that they're very, very informative. So I'm going to share with you what that is. Basically, what we're sharing to the public right now. Glenn Stein with Realty Executives in the Villages. We're located on 466 next to Buena Vista, next to the Hampton Inn. We have a satellite office all the way in Coleman, which is close to Fenny, and in the southern end, south of 44 and south of the Turnpike. And we also have an Ocala office. So without further ado, let's go over the Q2 second quarter 2023 Villages MLS report. And of course, if you're new to the channel and you haven't subscribed, please do that, or also like our channel as well. That'd be fabulous. And if you have questions, you can put that in the chat as well. So you can do that. And you could also call me at 352-572-3796. If you have questions about real estate, pretty much anywhere in Florida, because I'm a licensed Florida broker, or about the Villages or surrounding areas, surrounding neighborhoods, some of the other retirement areas around the Villages. Also, we do property management. We do rentals. So if you have a need for a rental, long-term or short-term for season, you can call our office at 352-753-7500, 352-753-7500. And we also obviously do management for owners. So if you have a home that you would like to put into our management program, because we do take care of our properties, either long-term or short-term, either one is okay. One thing that's changed over the years is we're actually doing more long-term than we used to. And there was a time where long-term, especially in the summer, was darn near impossible to rent. So thank goodness that's actually changed. So let's look at the slide here. And this is technically the actual pages that we're sharing with our people, right? So if you're looking at the historical price per square foot, starting with 2018, January 2018, all the way through into 2023, you can see the rise in price per square foot. Obviously, the price, the sales price divided by the square footage under air square footage of a particular home, and that could be anywhere between even a 1-1 patio villa all the way into some of the premier properties that are well over even 3,000 square feet and have multiple garages. That, in fact, I know of one that's actually going to be hitting the market. Beautiful property with a pool. It's going to be going for $1.7 million. 4 years ago, you would never have found such a property. So now the prices have gone up to the point where now you're seeing more million-dollar property sales, and you're seeing more properties that are selling. Instead of the average being around 250, now we're more in the 350 to 375 range, 5-year comparison. But this bears it out, like $160, $170 a square foot, and there's some ups and downs here, but pretty consistent from January of 2018 all the way to January of 2021. Pretty much, you're seeing it start to go up, almost hit $200 per square foot, and now 2021 interest rates really bottoming out. That's where inventory started to decline, and there you're seeing the prices go up now over the 250 mark. Briefly in 2022, we saw spots where it went under, like prices went down, and now they've stabilized, and we're hovering right around the 250 mark at this point, right? Let's take a look at sold units the last 5 years. And this is another chart that tells us, okay, during a particular month, you're seeing, right around the 150 mark. And of course, 2019, a lot of people don't realize this, January 2019, the values and the number of properties that actually sold went down, and we're hovering about probably about 120, 125, and then of course spiked up again. And then of course during COVID, you saw number of units go through the floor, and obviously under 100. And then ever since that point, it's been going up, right? And this is like 2021, a dip, obviously late 2021, then the 2022, and then obviously with the interest rates jumping up so dramatically late last year, mid to late last year, this is the effects of that going under 100 units. Like really, it was a tougher market for a good 5 to 6 months. And then obviously late last year into beginning of this year, we're seeing more sales on a monthly basis, right? That bears it out. This is MLS, of course. And look, there are differences between MLS and VLS. VLS is actually the developers, new construction, and their resales. But I will tell you, look, when people are moving into our area, and I recently did a short video on this a day or two ago, that the Villages, Florida, is actually the hotspot for demand for housing, right? People are wanting to move into our area, so it's consistent. Pretty much, whether it's MLS or VLS, it's pretty much they're going to be consistent. It's not going to be people are looking on MLS and they're not looking on VLS, or they're really buying. And I've heard this before, which kind of makes me roll my eyes sometimes. That, oh yeah, my gosh, the developer is selling all these homes and we're not. And like that's not. I don't even. It doesn't make any sense for that to happen, because when people are looking, they're looking. So they're not going to look at one and not look at the other. Now, sometimes they're not aware of the other systems, but pretty much you're going to see something very similar as far as sales, no matter what the system, VLS or MLS. Look at average sales price. Average sales price right here at 300,000 back in 2018. Of course, went under that price, stayed under that price for a good year, 2 years, 2020, and then you're starting to see an increase in sales all the way through 2022, seeing a peak there in the middle of 2022, and then a little bit of downward movement, and it's pretty much holding right around that average sales price of 400,000. Okay, that's where we are right at the moment. Look at months of inventory, which is the measurement of how many homes are on the market. If the current rate of sales stays the same and no more homes come on the market, this is what this is. So months of inventory, 2018, looking at 3+ months, spiked up to 4. Another point right around, obviously for obvious reasons, spring of 2020, over 4 months, and then plummeted completely down into 2021, where you're looking at less than a month, probably about a week's worth of inventory, and then a big climb up. Once again, middle of last year, common theme here, 4 months plus of inventory. And then of course, we're seeing a decline in the months of inventory. And we're really seeing a reduction in inventory for the last 6 to 7 months, where we look like we're going to go over the 400 mark. And now we're looking at, now it's looking like just above the 300 mark as far as number of homes on the market. That's definitely something. Days to sell, it's taking here going from 50 days to 60, and then down to under 10 at one point in 2021, to climbing again around the 50 mark. And right now we're in the mid 40s as far as number of days on the market, right? So, the summary is, looking at the last 12 months, really has shown us a lot. We're seeing, a bottoming of the marketplace late last year to early part of this year in the Villages, and things have picked up. We're seeing right now one of the hotter, not only temperature wise, but one of the hotter periods for actually selling at this point of most any August that I've seen. So that's something to recognize for sure. I think that's something that, when you're looking at, you're thinking about, whether I should buy or sell. That's a consideration, right? Is now a good time? Because this is a question that we get. Is now a good time to actually buy or sell a property? And let's look at it from the buy standpoint. From the buy standpoint, you're pretty much looking at I think a good time to buy. Is it the best time ever? I'm not going to say that. I think that's kind of a typical realtor thing to say. But I will tell you that I think it's a good time, because many buyers are waiting for interest rates to drop, and they may. And some people think that the interest rates are going to go down because it's an election year and this is going to happen. Be interested to see what you think, by the way. So put that in the chat. I'd like to hear what you think about what you think is going on in the real estate market. I'm also, from the buyer standpoint, I think, many people decide that they don't want to buy until, maybe they don't want to buy until, the spring, and I'm going to wait until season. But what happens is if you're going to wait for everybody else to jump into the marketplace, then you're going to have more competition. And now we have a decent amount of inventory. It's not 200 and it's not 400. It's like right around 300 mark. So you have enough to choose from to make and to be able to make an educated decision. From the seller standpoint, it's still a pretty decent time to sell. It's not the best time. Best time might have been maybe a year and a half ago, but the values have come down a touch, but they haven't gone down as much as what many people were thinking were going to happen. And in fact, they've rebounded nicely. And we're seeing in certain cases, especially if you have a pool home, multiple offer situations right now in the summer. So very interesting marketplace. By the way, I think we're going to see this. If you call this kind of a boring market, which is sometimes I do because there's not a lot of massive movement going on. That being the case, I think we're going to see a lot of what we're seeing now for the next several years, right? So if you're interested in moving, please connect 352-572-3796. And I hope everybody just has a great week and a great weekend.